Okay, you guys, so we are back with another video. In this video, we're going to talk about what happened to Nolan Wells. Let's talk about it because I know at this point in time, even if you're not familiar with what is going on, you should have some idea of Nolan Wells and the fact that he has passed under mysterious circumstances. He's a biracial child, black. I think he identifies as black. His mama is Asian, his father is black, and he went to an island, and he went there not by himself but with a group of other boys and I think two other girls. They were all within the same age group, and everyone came back besides Nolan Wells. Nolan Wells' story is not the first of its kind. There are so many similar stories, and they all having to do with black kids. So if you're paying attention to what has been happening in the past couple of years and what is going on now, you know definitely that black Americans, they're being targeted. They're literally being secretly hunted. It's like as though, from what I'm gathering from my side, and for those who have been keeping up with my channel, you guys know that my intuition never fails me. So I'm going to tell you guys what my intuition has been telling me about Nolan Wells. I believe that Nolan Wells was carefully targeted. I believe that he was picked before the incident, and I believe that how he died will never be truly uncovered. And I think that even the kids who are involved, like, it's given kind of fragmented spiritual kind of thing. So I don't think even they themselves completely understand, what is going on. And I'm going to leave that at that. It might look and sound crazy to some of you, and to others of you. You guys will understand exactly what I'm talking about. And this is why it's important to pray over your kids. There is definitely an agenda against black people. I don't know if you guys can't see it, but for the people outside of America, we can see there's an agenda against black Americans. And then black Americans are targeting not all black Americans, but there are a significant number of black Americans that are coming out now, and they are targeting black immigrants when that should not even be their fight this day. It should be another fight, and then they could always move on to that fight at a later date. But I don't want to make this too much about color, because before color comes life, right? So I have a little thing prepared on my screen. If you're seeing me looking to the side, I've gathered some details because I've been following some podcasters when I can, also the media outlets. And you know what I find? And this is what I'll always say to anyone. And this is something that is truthful. It is 100% factual. The only frequency that never changes is authenticity. When someone is telling the truth about something, the truth is going to flow freely and consistently. Once that changes, once the flow of information changes, it means that a lot of cover up and a lot of lies are being told. This boy's story, it has changed too many times for what the police, the coroner's office, what they're putting out. It's not true. It's not true. It is not true. And anyone with a functioning brain can see that at this time. The police report, the coroner's office report, they're all lying. They're all lying. Now, as I've said, Nolan Wells, he's an 18-year-old boy from Mississippi. He disappeared on July 4th of this year, 2026, after a boat trip to Oran Island, a remote barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Now, According to several reports, he was last seen by friends who reported that he chose to stay behind on the island and his body was found 2 days later. Now, a friend choosing to stay on an island is not something that you say. You know, how do you go out together as a group, then you're going to come back and say, oh, Nolan chose to stay on the island. Why? There were some virgins over there. There were some girls there. Is it a hot spot, a vibrant community? No. So he had no reason to stay at the island alone. He had none whatsoever. So that within itself is indicative that that's the first cover-up right there. That's the first cover-up right there. The mere fact that they're saying he chose to stay. No, that's not Jamaica. That's not Barbados. Like, it's not funny, but it's just how people put things, and then they expect you to believe the dumb ish that they try to put in front of us. Because what? We're not stupid. It doesn't make any sense. No. What they're saying is that authorities initially stated they do not suspect foul play because they knew the shit was gonna go down when you all knew it was gonna go down. So, they're saying there's no foul play and they believe he may have drowned. After he said he's gonna stay there alone, he just drowned. After he said, and they did not come together to lift him up, tie him on the boat in a secure seat, tie him safe and secure and say, boy, we ain't leaving your ass out here. When you get home back to your mama, you can go tell your mama that you're going to go out to Orange Island and you're going to stay out there by yourself. But you ain't going to do that on our watch. Did they do that? No. So that's how you know from the get-go, it's not making any sense whatsoever. Now, they're saying that he may have drowned, though we know that the investigation is still going on. Now, what they're saying is that witnesses have mentioned heavy alcohol consumption over the weekend and that Wells was last seen with an unknown female when his friends departed the island. So, already you guys know, like, that is not making any sense whatsoever. So they say, he was drinking alcohol, right? But then they said he wanted to stay on the island. He was seen with someone unknown. He was seen with a girl. And the information is just consistently all over the place. And as I've said to you guys, we know authenticity does not change, right? He may have drowned. They are now bringing into play alcohol usage. That's what they do to these people when they kill them. They say, oh, he was doing alcohol and he had this banned substance in his system and he had another banned substance in his system, and they'll go on and they'll find so many substance, but then the people who knows these people will have no recollection of these individuals doing drugs or even acting in the sense as though they have ever been under the influence. But I must say, someone also drinking alcohol or consuming too much doesn't mean that they're going to drown themselves, because people in Jamaica drink. They drink and they do darn scary things when they drink. And they do it in such a way that they appear to do it better when drunk than when sober. So I'm not going to believe any of the stories that are being put out by any of these officials, because we have seen this before. We have seen this level of cover-up before with many. And the thing is that we have people now who are coming for his mom, and his mother has been very well spoken, and she has been so calculated with her words, because I believe, this is not even I believe, this is common sense at this point. She's conscious of the fact that her son will always be identified as a black boy, and she's an Asian woman, and the moment she speaks, she looks as half Asian, half black as well, but she's conscious and she knows that the moment she starts talking, every word that she says will be put under a microscope. So she has been very careful with her choice of words, and she hasn't been pointing fingers at anyone. She has just been fighting and speaking up for her son to get the justice that he deserves. But now they want to go after the mom, because if you can attack the mother's emotion, she'll crumble. And if she crumbles, who will be there to ensure and to push and to appeal that the authorities and everyone else who can help chips in and help, right? So no, there is a target on the mom. No, there are some family concerns because Ben Crump is representing the family. One of the alleged suspects, his family is who is going after Ben Crump, right? But Nolan Wells' family, they are questioning the transparency of the investigations, and they have raised concerns about possible racial bias. And they have every right to do so, because we know when it comes to a black child, that is seen so often that one of the first things that's going to come to mind is this child is not going to get the justice that is due to him because he's a black boy. And when you learn about the profile of the other kids, like their parents, powerful people, judge who have connections to powerful attorneys, and everyone lawyered up after getting back home, right? So this is giving the Cabo 6 with Shankwella. This is kind of giving the sense of that, but the only difference is that there's some white kids involved. And unfortunately, when it's one black child versus some white kids, like this is common more than it isn't common. And that is what is so unfortunate about it. No, the family, they definitely did an independent autopsy, to determine the cause of his death. And they're still pending some investigation based on the last information that I was able to obtain. Now, people online, they have been able to point out the inconsistencies in the timeline and the stories. They claim that Nolan chose to stay behind, and speculation about whether there was an altercation or cover-up, right? Because that's true. They're saying Nolan chose to stay behind. So what they're saying is that, how did Nolan drown if he chose to stay behind? If he was with a girl, why didn't the girl help him? And they're saying there's one other guy and a girl. And what social media is saying is that if he chose to stay behind and there were two other people, what happened? What resulted in Nolan Wells drowning? So is it that the two people watched him drown? And if so, why didn't the two people who he was left behind with, why didn't they call the relevant authorities? Why didn't they get other people to intervene, to help? Like, the story it has so many different, and it's so wrong for me to say story because this is not a story. This is a real life at present moment, right? But there's so many different twists and turns to it. And I'm just diving in. To be very honest, I'm just diving in. As I've said, I've been looking at some takeaways from it, some deliveries, not everyone, because I want to get the story for what it is that happened exactly as what is being reported by the media and the police. Then I want to see what content creators are saying and what social media is saying. And that's how you basically pick sense out of nonsense for me, because I don't trust anything that any of these officials are saying about Nolan Wells passing. But hopefully I can take the time out to do some more research and gather some more details and come back and we can talk about it some more in other videos. So yeah, any other information that you guys can leave in the comment section will be helpful, and we can talk some more in the comment section. Peace.